Good evening. We will start the meeting of the Grand Forks Public School Board on April 22nd. First item on our agenda is a call to order and pledge of allegiance. And for those in the audience, the flags are right up here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Dave Berger is joining us via telephone. Josh, will you read the norms, please?
I certainly will. School board meeting norms are: be prepared, be on time, value and respect each other, exercise thoughtful deliberation and conversation, be professional at the board table and when visiting with general public, speak up when the norms are not being followed, and advocate on behalf of students and keep the community in mind.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the approval of agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Dr. Lund, second by Jeff. Assuming a roll call vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item is approval of minutes from April 8th, 2024. Do I have a motion for approval? Motion by Dr. Schab. Is there a second? Second by Bill. We'll take a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Unanimous with 9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Thank you. We're now on the item of our agenda for public comments. I have 2 blue cards. Is there anyone wishing to submit a blue card? Okay. We will do Kathy Barker, Cushman Cup invite. And I'll just read this real quick. School board meetings as defined by state law are subject to North Dakota open meeting laws. Purpose of the open meeting law is to give members of the public access to the meetings, to observe and monitor. Access does not give members of the public the right to participate or speak at the public meeting unless allowed by the chair. Each member invited to speak to the microphone may speak for up to 3 minutes. And the chairperson reserves the right to limit comments and the number of speakers. School board should not engage in, respond to, or debate about any issues brought forth to the meeting. Any public comments or concerns will be directed to the superintendent. So if you want to, there's a a yellow button that you can press. Hello. Hi.
I'm Kathy Barker. I'm a parent volunteer. My daughter is Maggie Barker, who's currently at a team practice. Anyways, whenever Grand Forks Central and Red River High Schools come together in any competition, our community comes together as one. We all win. It is a memory to be made, a time with neighbors and friends, and a heck of a good time. So I want to extend an invitation to celebrate our youth, our community, and our high school girls soccer team when 2 equally competitive teams come together for the Cushman Cup 2024. So please mark your calendars for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. We have food and fellowship from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Cushman parking lot, and game time is 7 p.m. for varsity. So I hope that we can come together as a community and just enjoy that. Thank you, and hopefully see you at the game.
Thank you. Did you say May 14th?
Yep. Tuesday, May 14th.
Thank you.
Events start at 4:30 in the parking lot, game at 7. Thank you.
Thank you. I have another public comment card here. This one specifically states a personnel employee of the district. At this time, I won't allow any public comments about any personnel of the district. Our school board policies outline this process in policy BGA, BCBA, BR, BFB, and BCBA. So if you have any concerns or comments about personnel, you can follow the policies or process or reach out to our superintendent, but I won't allow that comment at this time. Next item on our agenda is the superintendent's recommendation for action. We'll move into the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval? Motion by Dr. Lund. Is there a second? Second by Joel. We'll take a roll call vote, please.
Lund,
Yes.
Gockler. Yes. Palmasino.
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Shab. Yes. Flynn,
Yes.
unanimous with 9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. We'll now move on to the general fund statement. Brandon?
President Flynn, members of the board, I'm here to present the first 9 months of our budget in front of you. The total general fund revenues were totaling $103.7 million, whereas the expenditures are coming in at $86.35 million. That results in revenue over expenditures, about $17 million. It's fair to characterize this month as kind of the high tide here before some things come back down to over the summer months. So to kind of take you through it, electronic page 22 of your board packet starts the first of the 2 financial statements. This is the actuals against the budget. Just a couple of quick highlights on the first page of that report. You can see the local sources are about 77% of the budget of the anticipated number have come in. State at 90% and federal at 57%. That's right where we would see that. The state sources are all but in at this point, and local sources will just continue to trickle in over the next few months. And federal is consistent throughout the budget as we seek those reimbursements for dollars spent. So kind of blended, our revenues are about 81% in for the year. And our expenditures are showing here about 66% in for the year, again, with a large payout anticipated just before the summer. Kind of jumping through the rest of the first report, happy to answer any questions, but I have more comments starting on electronic page 25. This is the comparative report, where we take a look and compare where we're at this year, at this point in time, compared to last year at this point in time. We're tracking on revenues ahead of last year at this point in time by about 11%, whereas expenditures are just over 12%. Just a couple of notes here in that comments box, electronic page 25. Just that sixth item mentioned there is a little bit higher than where we have the budgeted number, and that's because it's due to an E-rate program. It's a reimbursement where you get paid half of that amount back from the federal government, so we're waiting on those monies to come in, and that actually works its way against the expense line rather than on the revenue side. So that number will come down. And then lastly, one thing worth pointing out here is the 9th comment. There's been significant dollars put in the Ben Franklin HVAC project from ESSER sources. So on electronic page 27, you'll notice the construction services are about $3.5 million this year, and you've heard me state before in this forum and others that we won't use general fund dollars towards construction projects anymore, and I want to assure you that's not what's happening here. These are the remaining ESSER dollars that will be expended out, and then if you took off that project about that total amount of $3.5 million, you'd find that there really aren't any general fund dollars used in construction. And then the last 3 pages of the report, electronic pages 28, 9, and 30, just kind of show that graphical representation. You can see that revenues, where the green bar, the furthest right of the packs of 3, are coming to that peak where they start to flatten out for the remainder of the year. And then that next page, you'll see our expenses will increase at a slightly faster rate, culminating in that page 30 of the report, where you see that balance will drop down. All told, we are where we have anticipated to be, but we'll start to come back down here for the summer. So happy to answer any questions here. Otherwise, administrative recommendation would be to approve the general fund financial statement for this period of July 1 to March 31st as presented.
Any questions for Brandon? Go ahead, Dr. Lund.
my usual monthly question. Are we assuming the ending fund balance at the end of June is going to be on target to where we anticipate at the beginning of the year?
Yes, we are anticipating according to our budget that we had set, which was still looking at a deficit, so we're watching the lines as they come in here, hopefully overcoming some of that deficit.
Other questions for Brandon? Go ahead.
Transportation costs, which I can't find right now, is that kind of where we're expecting it to be at this point?
Yes, we did increase the budget significantly from the year prior, about 25% for that line, and we appear to be on track, although I think there's a number of principals in the room, we're realizing that, field trips are a little more expensive, it's adding up. So I do think that we will exceed the budget, just in the order of magnitude of under 10%, but we should be pretty close, but I wouldn't be surprised if we come over top of budgeted number.
So since you raised field trips, which is right above or close by?
Right below.
Below, thank you. What are the trips, the transportation in field trips separate from field trips?
Yes, thank you. Fair clarification there. They are separate there, so that student transportation line covers all of our general ed routes, special education routes. Our activities transportation would fall actually in a different line altogether than those two mentioned, and then you'd have the field trip lines that you pointed out.
Other questions? If not, I'll seek a motion for approval of the financial statement.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Shab. Is there a second? Second by Jeff. We'll take a roll call vote, please.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Shab,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Gockler, Berger,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
unanimous, 9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. We will now review the summer school program. Catherine, are you taking that on first?
I am. I'm just taking the role of first introducing. We have quite the lineup here, as you can see, and we will call them up in order. So I'll read off the order for those of you so you know who's on deck. First of all, we will have the Summer Performing Arts, introduced by Allison Peterson, then Driver's Education, Elementary Summer School, Encore, and the middle school program I will actually cover tonight, followed by the high school summer school program and the Valley Middle School Summer Rise program. We'll bat to clean up there. So I welcome Allison Peterson, the director of the SPA program, to the microphone to give the overview of the Summer SPA program.
Good evening, members of the school board, district administration. Thank you for having us tonight talk about the summer school programs. I speak for everybody. I think we're pretty excited for the summer. Registration for SPA opened on April 2nd. That first day, 384 were registered. When I left my desk this evening, that number is now 818. We're trending a little bit higher than we were this time last year, but I'm thinking we're going to be right around that 1,000 enrollment again. So they kind of trickle now until the start of the program. So, and we have some programming in July, so we even have some late registrants. So I'm thinking it's going to be about the 1,000 student range. Some items to note for this summer. Pre-K is expanding. This is for ages 3 through 6 that have not yet been in kindergarten. There's always been a high demand, and we've doubled courses every year we did it, and we think that 16 is probably the sweet spot, given how the registration has gone. They didn't all fill at once, but they're all trickling in, and they're all going to be full at the end, so we think that we've kind of hit that sweet spot of how many courses to offer for the summer. We are going to take on the district band and orchestra lessons this year under the SPA name. Nothing is changing. It just made sense to have all of the fine arts programs kind of be under one umbrella. One person in charge of the My School Bucks registration, one person in charge of the marketing and the promotional materials, and that's me. So I just kind of took that on, and so nothing will change about how they're offered or anything, just that those numbers will pop up on reports now under SPA. For our high school program, this year's high school productions are slated to be Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's for the 8th, 9th graders, and that will be at Grand Forks Central High School. And Grease is for the 10th and 11th graders, the current 10th, 11th, and that will be at Red River High School, both shows in July. Giving Hearts Day went really well for us this year, and we're grateful to have the best donor base in the entire community. We had the highest donor retention rate of all Giving Hearts Day charities, and we received a monetary award for that accomplishment, and we're going to put that towards 2024 spa programming, so we're very excited that we received that award. With that said, the increase in staff wages has put a significant strain on our budgeting. This year, no certified staff member will make less than what the maximum was the year prior. And so since we have approximately the same number of staff members, we are losing 4 positions cut to attrition. I compared last year's numbers, this year's numbers, and the hours are about the same. We trimmed a little on staff, on prep work, and a little bit of trimming here and there. And it's probably going to be about $116,000 that is extra to the staffing cost of our budget. And in the past, our fundraising efforts have been such where we've used grants to kind of supplement, enrichment and equipment and programming and those type of things. But this year, we wrote grants specifically to offset the costs of the staffing. And that's something that we've never had to do before. In the future now, we are, going to start looking at some sponsorship opportunities for the program. And that's a good plan, but it's not sustainable. And so we will, keep looking forward to ways that we can make this program and run without sacrificing the quality of programming or the quality of staff. So lastly, I want to publicly say thank you to the building principals and custodial staff of the buildings that will house us this summer. That's Discovery, Phoenix, Grand Forks Central, South, and Red River. And also to Sharon Lutheran for allowing us to use their space for the elementary program once again as Red River hosts summer school. And I am happy to entertain any questions you have, and we're looking forward to a wonderful summer.
Any questions? Go ahead, Dr. Loud.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what's available for children with special needs, and then also children whose families financially might not be able to afford this?
Yes, of course. I'll start with the scholarship fund first. We have an extensive scholarship fund that's been put in place by generous donors over the years. Any student that wants to participate in SPA can participate in SPA regardless of financial situation. There's a simple form to fill out with the registration requesting financial assistance. And so no student has ever been turned away from SPA due to the inability to pay. And that's something we really take pride on. So that's in place this year too. We have scholarship funds to cover student activity fees for SPA. As far as special needs, we have a program called My Spa. It meets in July. There's 2 programs of My Spa. Mini My Spa, which is grades K through 5. And it's kind of similar to the elementary spa program, but it's staffed with paraprofessionals and special educators. And it's geared towards students with special needs and challenges. And then we have a program that meets in the afternoon in July at Central. They both meet at Central. And that's for grades 6 through 12 and students in the adult transition program. Same thing, it is kind of a fine arts immersion with visual arts, music, movement, drama. They make skits, they have a public performance at the end, and that meets for 3 hours a day in July with the ending performance the end of July.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Go ahead.
I just have a comment. Thank you, Allison, for all that you do. SPA is amazing, and I think we're just so lucky to have such an amazing program. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I probably should know this, but I don't know if there's any thought to collaborating again with the EL SPA, which brings both English multi-language students from Central and Red River.
Yep, one of the grants that we write does have a component for guest artists for the multilingual program, and so that will continue on this year. We will send some guest artists to the high school summer school. And that's grant funded, and we did get that grant.
Other comments or questions? Allison, it's always a pleasure and joy to have you here. You're just a ball of sunshine. And I was at the computer on sign-up day trying to get my girls signed up, and it was a very easy process to do so. So thank you very much.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. It is time for Driver's Ed 2024. Terry Bohan, principal at Community High School. We are planning for summer Driver's Ed starting June 3rd. Happy to say we have 16 instructors confirmed to get going. Maybe pulling one out of retirement if she is willing, but perhaps not. We have over 270 students registered so far with a capacity somewhere around 300 students. As a reminder to the board, most of our driver's ed students are heading into 9th grade or heading into 10th grade. And we have secured vehicles again this year from Rydell. Again, we cannot run our program without the support of Rydell Motors. And also this year, Grand Forks Subaru Kia. So we are ready to implement our program. I'm happy to say also that of our 16 new instructors, 3 of them are new to certification or endorsement, so I'm feeling comfortable about that. I would also remind the board that this is the second year we have been charging $300 per student for behind the wheel, clarifying that driver's ed does not charge behind the wheels what we charge for, so this will be the second year of paying that fee for families. That is my brief review for driver's ed. Be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Any questions for Mr. Bohan? Go ahead.
Mr. Bohan, where can you get your driver's ed endorsement these days?
For the past several years, there's been one location, Minot State University, 100% online options. However, there has been a little bit of rumbling about maybe UND is exploring some continuing ed options. I'm working with a couple of instructors on that. There's some folks that are attached to our district that are in the UND continuing ed department. There's a possibility, maybe.
Other questions? Okay, we look forward to your report at the end of the year.
And we do ride-alongs. Give me a call. We'll do a ride-along if you want.
Hi, my name is Evan Peterson. I'm a Dean of Students at Valley Middle School. I also organize the elementary summer school program. This year we are DPI regulations that all students are eligible again for summer school. Previously it was at a remediation level. They are encouraging a 25-to-1 ratio for our summer school classrooms. Visiting with Mr. Matt Bakke, we are going to have summer school at 4 buildings in Grand Forks and then our Twining. So Viking and Lewis and Clark will combine and be at Phoenix Elementary. Winship and Wilder will be at Lake Agassiz Elementary. Ben Franklin will be at Century, and then Kelly will be at Discovery Elementary. Right now we have roughly 500 kids signed up. Compared to previous years, it's low, but looking back into 2019, 20, and 21, it's kind of on average to where we're at, have been the previous 4 years, 5 years. Teacher contracts, teachers will have a contract of 76.5 hours. That's 4 hours of math and reading per day, half-hour prep that we offer them, and then they have 4 hours of setup and 4 hours of takedown for their room. And then we have a meeting that will be hosted here for all the teachers leading up to summer school. So that completes our 76.5 hours of contracted time if they're there the entire time. If they are gone for personal reasons, we have a contract deduction that goes with that, and then we as Grand Forks Schools find substitutes for them who are teachers already currently employed by Grand Forks Public Schools. Paraprofessionals will be staffed from 7:30 to 12:30. They're there at 7:30 for breakfast that will be served at our buildings, and then lunch. So they're covering breakfast and lunch while our teachers are on their prep period or when their contract is over at noon. And then we have 3 TOSAs, or 2 TOSAs and myself. So a TOSA is a teacher on special assignment. It'd be an acting administrator in our buildings. We decided as staff to have that at Lake Agassiz due to the high volume of numbers at Lake Agassiz. And then Century Elementary, and then myself will be at Phoenix and Discovery, bouncing back where we need support. So building admin will be assigning staff and then conducting the class enrollments. Our goal is 25 to 1. We have a meeting tomorrow to kind of finalize what we're going to do with our classroom setups, and then how many sections we can have at each building. Transportation is important to us. We feel that a lot of our students will need transportation to get there. So we also have a meeting with Allie Hildebrand tomorrow to kind of figure out a bus schedule for our students so they can get to the buildings and be at our school, even though they're signed up. Sometimes we've seen lower attendance because of transportation to and from the buildings. Curriculum, Amy Barch and her team set up the 10th month curriculum for math and reading. Teachers are pretty used to that. They're doing it out right now. So our 10th month is just another added month that they do. That's part of their curriculum already. And then Carrie Weipert and her staff are working with special education, hiring paraprofessionals, staff, and then setting up the special education side of the busing. And then lastly, like I said, breakfast and lunch will be offered at Phoenix, Lake Agassiz, and Century. It will not be offered at Discovery or Twining Elementary. So take any questions if there's any questions about elementary summer school.
Go ahead.
I have quite a few, actually. First question is, what's the registration deadline?
It just was last Friday, so registration has been out since early March, and then it's kind of the teachers are reaching out to their students and encouraging them to sign up for registration. So it's completed, so now we're on to the staffing and class assignments phase.
So is it too late? Because I have some families, I want to ask, I'll pivot to my next question. So I'm concerned about some of the multilingual students. We have some families that are just arriving, so this summer program is really, I think, important for them to be able to be ready for the fall. So I heard, but I don't know if it's factual, that there aren't enough ML teachers, and so I have some concerns about that.
Visiting with our ML coordinator this afternoon, we have roughly 4 teachers that are interested in signing up with that, and then we're going to visit with those families and kind of open up the registration to make sure that those students get registered and placed in the buildings that they'll be at.
Yeah, that's great, because the families that I talked to on Sunday at an event hadn't really gotten that information yet.
Yeah. We work together today, and we'll get that information out to them.
That's great. Thank you. That's great to hear. Appreciate that, because it is an equity issue.
Yeah.
Other comments? Okay. Thank you so much. I'm excited that we have this offering at our schools, so thank you.
Mr. Peterson's tall. We're super excited and happy to bring back Summer Encore. We feel that it's a very important service for our families to actually attend summer school. We hadn't sent out our registration until today, and a lot of parents and instructional coaches were reaching out that they were being told that parents wouldn't be able to send their kids to summer school without Summer Encore. So we're happy that we'll offer Summer Encore again. We'll do the 4 buildings like Evan had mentioned, the Ben Franklin, or Century with Ben Franklin, Lewis and Clark and Phoenix, Wilder Winship at Lake Agassiz, and Discovery and Kelly. Registration just went out today at 4:30, and we had 62 already sign up since 4:30 tonight. So I imagine that number will grow. We had served over 202 last summer between the 4 buildings. And so we'll, if barring any crazy like low numbers, then we'll work with those parents to see if they can transport and not have 4 buildings open, but we're gonna try to keep all 4. Obviously, we have lunch at 3 of them, and then Discovery at Kelly families would just have to pack a lunch, but that's should hopefully be okay as long as they're warned ahead of time that just pack a lunch. Registration's open until Friday, May 3rd. So, and like I said, Mrs. Melissa Bakke sent it out today to all of our families. That would be our like target group. So all the families that we can serve. So yeah, that's kind of my short and sweet.
Any questions for Ms. Erickson? Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I heard you. So registration closes May 3rd?
Correct. Yes, sorry, yes. Just opened up today. It'll be open for 2 weeks or whenever May 3rd falls. But
So is if I'm remembering this program last year, the intention is for some of the kids to go to summer school and then go to this?
Correct. So then the parents can just leave their children at the school until 5:30, but they don't have to go to summer school to come to Summer Encore. And yeah, they can just come to Summer Encore as well.
So if they go to Summer Encore, would the at-home transportation be provided?
I don't know about the transportation piece.
Yet to be determined, but typically we have not offered it at the end of the day to Encore. If they want to just attend Encore, typically that has been on the parents to get the transportation to Encore.
I meant though if they go to the summer school program and Encore.
You're talking afterwards. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, okay, so remind me, this is June 3rd through the 21st?
Correct.
Doesn't that mirror the elementary summer school program?
Yes, so my question is are you referring for them to get to Encore, to get to summer school? Right now, we're working through, like Evan stated, that we're working through the transportation piece. As far as transportation after Encore, we will not be providing after-school Encore, after transportation after Encore.
You know that for sure?
At this point in time, yes, we haven't offered that in the past. Last year was the first year we did offer that, is my understanding.
Last year was the first year we offered Encore in the after-school, right?
No, transportation after Encore. Because you're specifically asking about transportation, correct? Yep.
I am.
Yep, and that's what I'm referring to.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions for Ms. Erickson? Thank you very much.
I believe I am up next, so I'm going to give you a broad overview of the middle level program. So the middle level program is being taken over coordination-wise by Teresa Oscard this year, and I'll be working alongside her in that transition to make sure that our summer school programming meets the needs of our kids. And middle level wise, it's continued to be a little bit of a morphing program. We, at one time, were serving kids in June, then we moved it to August to try to get a bigger participation. We are back now, as you can see in the memo, to June 3 through 21. Similar to what Evan reported on, summer school is open to any student who is interested in attending. It's not just intended to be a remedial program. And so what we're doing this year a little bit differently is offering, in addition to language arts and mathematics, which have been our traditional course offerings, we're also offering a STEM or science-based program. We're hoping in doing so, we will increase our numbers of kids participating. In addition to that, we are going to have our math classes and our language arts classes are going to not just work on the skills and building additional skills within their content areas, but they're going to be looking to add a project-based learning experience to build some of those transferable skills that transfer over into other courses, and also really increase engagement so that it doesn't feel like it's kind of the drill and kill, just the remediation focus, that we're really looking at some enriching experiences for our kids. Also different this year is our Schrader students and South students will be going back and forth between the two buildings depending on whether or not they sign up for science, which is slated to be at South Middle School, or the language arts and math, which is slated to be at Schrader Middle School. So kids will be intermixed at those campuses. Twining Middle School will offer their own programming independent of the in-town buildings focused on math and language arts. Again, the hours are very similar to the elementary program, including the teacher prep time. There will be one teacher on special assignment who's working specifically with the Valley Summer Rise program. Nick Peterson is here tonight to report on the Summer Rise program, which is independent of this, and it's targeting specifically the comprehensive school improvement efforts at Valley Middle School. The multilingual learner session will be held at South Middle School as well, and busing will be provided specifically for that program. Busing for all kids is a to be determined. We're surveying the families as they sign up for these sessions, and we'll determine based on need. Basically, we want to make sure there aren't barriers for kids attending school. That's a really quick, broad overview. I'm here to entertain questions if you have them at this time.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Catherine, do you know the rationale from DPI why these programs are open to all students? Because what if 100% of middle school students participated? What would that do to your staffing? I'm just curious what the rationale is behind that it's open to everybody, if you know the rationale from DPI.
It changed during COVID, and maybe Matt can add to it. It changed during COVID, and really it was under the auspices that why would we limit summer school programming? If kids want to participate, school is good for all students. But really on the heels of that, we wanted to bring kids back into buildings more and give them more experiences with one another, more experiences with trusted adults, building their skills and capacity. So that was my understanding, the impetus behind this shift, and maybe Matt's giving the thumbs up. That must have been it.
Thank you.
Other questions for Catherine on middle school, summer school? Go ahead.
I'm excited to see that you guys are offering STEM. Thank you very much. I think just a couple weeks ago, we attended, at Red River, Paul Zettler hosted an award ceremony for the cyber something, I'm not, cybersecurity, thank you. And it was all, not to diss any of the men in the audience, but it was all 4 out of 5 of the awardees were female. And having a daughter who's pursuing engineering and hearing the statistics about men in engineering versus girls in engineering, I'm over here applauding STEM. So thank you very, very, very much. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Catherine. On to another Peterson. This point, no. You're not a Peterson. You want to hit the button? There you go.
Now I'm on. There we go. Members of the board, Madam President, thanks for the opportunity for presenting tonight. My name is Mike Wilbur, one of the associate principals over at Grand Forks Central High School. Here to introduce our new summer school director this year, Mr. Trevor Lennon, who's one of our business ed teachers over at Grand Forks Central High School. Trevor and I have been working really closely the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to work closely throughout this spring to make sure that the high school program and the handoff goes smoothly for all of our students. We're planning on being at Red River High School again this year. This will be our 3rd year that we're at Red River High School. Starting next year, we'll pivot back and forth between the 2 schools. We were at Central for a long time, and then with some construction things that had happened within our building, we needed to move to Red River. We've been there for 3 years. There's another big construction project actually happening right out in front of the building at Central this year, and then after this year, we'll be going back and forth, which I think will be a good thing. So our registration deadline for high school summer school is Tuesday, May 21st. The registration process has been open since January 16th. The summer school session will run from June 3rd through July 10th, and we go from 7:45 a.m. until 12:25 p.m. We offer courses in English, math, physical education, science, and social studies. If you guys remember, the reason kids are taking summer school, there's one or two. One is for remediation, and then the second reason is for kids to free up space in their schedule to take electives. And so we kind of cater to that. As of right now, we were just looking at the registration spreadsheet yesterday. Our largest course sections right now are health, history, world history, speech, and our biggest section is physical education with 99 students that have already registered for it. Our total registration numbers are at 343, and we're trending to be right in that same area that we've been in the last few years, which is the high 400s, low 500s in terms of starting out. The new thing this year for us is students have the option to take summer school courses through the North Dakota Center for Distance Education, and we're working to help manage that as well with counselors. So we have a sign-up sheet, and then we are looking at putting them on the same time parameters as all the other students that are taking in-person summer school courses, so they should be finished up by July 10th. We're also working on finding an individual that can help us with the proctoring of those North Dakota Center for Distance Education exams. Most likely right now thinking we'll do that through our library para, who's going to be with us 3 days a week in the mornings. That's all I have in terms of a report. I'd entertain any questions right now if you guys have them.
Mr. Wilbur, I have a quick question for you. If a student takes a North Dakota Center for Distance Ed course, will that align then? Are you thinking it's going to align to the same time frame of summer school, even though it's like potentially a year-long course?
Yep, that's a great question. So typically North Dakota Center for Distance Ed courses are 20 weeks in length. And when we started doing the planning process of that, that's really problematic for us because our counselors need to know in August who's finished classes and who hasn't. And so we made the decision that we're going to start enrolling kids in these NDCD courses in early May. So they'll actually get a little bit longer than a kid that's taking it in person. But we'd really like to have them done by July 10th, which gives our counselors adequate time to see who ended up passing the class, who didn't pass the class, because they still have to work through schedule changes, and we wanted to try to give them adequate time to do that. Really good question.
Yeah,
Yep.
and if I may add to that, I think the typical course is half a semester, 0.5 credits, and that's the same sort of credit that's given for the typical summer school classes. And so theoretically, the math on that is if a student works the same amount of time that the in-person students are attending courses, they should be able to complete the courseware.
Other questions? Go ahead.
Mr. Lennon, did Mr. Wilbur teach you about brevity? Because this is the shortest and sweetest two-sentence report I've seen, but it has all the vital information. I'm wondering if that came from you, or did Mr. Wilbur teach you that?
I've actually been gone on vacation the past 4 days, so this was all Mike. I just got back about 20 minutes ago.
I was going to make some silly joke about he just flew in from Indianapolis and his arms were tired, but I didn't think you guys would have the appetite for that. So we weren't sure if he was actually going to be able to make it tonight, so that's why I'm filling in for him.
Well, I never feel old because I often see my old teachers at the mic, but Trevor was on my staff at University of Mary as an RA, so this is my first full circle moment, so it's good to see you, Trevor.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. If memory serves, the last time I was in front of this microphone was back in August when I was singing all the praises of the Summer Rise program, so here I am talking about the same thing. If you reference the letter Mr. Shai put in the minutes, I think my excerpt is in there, so I won't burden you with that again. So jumping off what Catherine said, RISE program is a little bit different. This stems from CSI status that we have at Valley and our partnerships with Lavinia. We start a little bit later, so we have staff training June 4th through the 7th after we're done with school. We have 3 teachers that are returning, and they vary based on how many years you've taught RISE. So our new teachers and our old teachers get different content and attention from Lavinia. That's certainly one of the strengths of the program. So students, we have 5 rigorous weeks. We run June 10th through July 12th. Numbers from last year, we had 26 kids total. There was 22 incoming 6th graders and then 4 students that were going to be 7th graders. We had marketed heavily to incoming kids. This year it's a little bit different because we're not hosting RISE and the typical summer school model. They're being condensed, so we've marketed to all our students. So far, signups already are at 41 with 26 incoming 6th graders and then 8 7th graders and 6 8th graders. We look to structure our day the same, which is an hour and 20-minute block of English, an hour and 20-minute block of math. We will be serving breakfast beforehand and lunch afterwards.
And then we always do a closing activity from 11 to 11:45. What that's looked at in the past with our emphasis on like incoming students was familiarizing them with Valley. We teach them how to work their locks, which seems to be the most stressful thing for all new middle school children. And that's also a time that Lavinia uses for training. So every Wednesday and Thursday, English and math take that 45 minutes to have a live training session with Lavinia where we bring student sample work and they tweak and refine, and I think that's a really valuable part of their model of doing this. So very much looking forward to getting started with even more kids this year. And I think that would be everything. I can take questions, or if you really want, I can talk a lot more about it and tell you my favorite stories, but.
Go ahead.
So I don't want to belabor, I don't think it's about this RISE program. I think last year they were given the opportunity to stay and do Encore, correct?
Yes.
Because somebody referenced in their comments that he heard that it was super fun. So
Yes.
that's not happening then, right?
No, not this year. No, we reached out and I think funding was the biggest part, but funding, and I think of the 26 kids, maybe if memory serves, a third of them would stay for the Encore part, and then maybe 2 or 3 kids that didn't do the Rise in the morning would show up for Encore. So I don't know which is the bigger factor, but no,
Okay.
We won't have Encore this year.
And so the RISE program, I know somebody mentions too that the curriculum is so, I guess, vibrant, I would say, different from the traditional summer school curriculum was the comment. So, does it match the curriculum in the schools now with the ELA
Yes.
move that we made?
I can speak to the ELA side. I can't speak as much towards the math. That's not my thing. But the way RISE teaches like transitive skills, like if you can read a nonfiction text, these are the important questions to ask. These are what to look for. In many, many ways, it mirrors the wit and wisdom content. So that was a huge selling point for us, actually, is that a lot of transferable skills between the two. Yeah. Yeah.
Other questions? You referenced CSI. Sometimes we hear these acronyms over and over again, but for the board and the public, can you please tell us what that is?
Yep, that's Comprehensive Site Improvement. Valley entered CSI at the start of last year. My understanding is that is always at a minimum a 3-year process. We're in our 2nd year right now, with aims to hopefully move out of comprehensive at the end of next year.
Thank you. You also said that RISE has an opportunity for incoming 6th graders. Is our other middle school for 6th grade too? Because I'm just thinking, I have a 5th grader, right? And we haven't even, like, she hasn't even been to middle school yet. We haven't even begun to, like, think about the classes. So how are we potentially marketing or thinking of that? Mm-hmm.
Yes is the answer. And that email is being sent out this week. That's one of the things I failed to report, is that the registration process will go out this week, and it goes through the 3rd of May, similar to Encore registration. And
Okay.
that'll be pushed out to all of the elementary feeder schools.
Awesome, okay. And then I'm curious about academic tracking. So, we're getting a lot more information on the academic programs and some data. And this might be for Matt and Catherine, but I'm curious if we track students through progress, like if they've gone to summer school, how does that impact then potential state testing scores? Or, I know that would probably be some extra work, but anything we're doing there. We always get a report at the end of the summer for, summer school in general, but how are we tracking that sort of on a holistic level?
Yeah, so for the Summer Rise program, they definitely have their data that they track internally, and I think that was part of the report last year. part of the middle level struggle traditionally, quite honestly, has been just what you described. The reason being, we haven't had the consistency that we've been striving for, that it should be in place this year, as far as the guaranteed and viable curriculum. So the ELA is going to use the Wit and Wisdom curriculum, the math is going to use the Envisions curriculum, and they're going to augment it with this project-based learning that I mentioned. And so with 3 weeks' time, if you think about it, really to close major gap skills for kids who might be reluctant learners at the middle level, we haven't had great success in tracking that. What we intend to do this year is a bit of the academic tracking, but we also want to track, and we're going to use rubrics to measure some of those transferable skills, because really if we're teaching kids how to problem solve, how to collaborate, how to have those other higher order skills present in their work, they will be able to be resilient, through some of those broader academic challenges. So that's why we're continuing to reformat the middle level program, is because we haven't quite found that sweet spot because of the short amount of time. And the way that the program's been designed in the past has been in just 2-hour chunks a day, and we're expanding that this year to require the 4 hours of attendance for each of our attendees.
Okay. Thank you.
From an elementary standpoint, we will be assessing them at the very beginning and at the very end, anticipating that, again, in the short amount of time that we have, 15 days, we don't anticipate seeing huge growth, but again, it's just the continuity of continuing to learn and continuing to be in that mindset and continue that routine moving forward. But we will be seeing some of that data at the very beginning and the very end.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Weren't you asking, though, like down the road? So they come to summer school and they do this RISE program. What is it like in the grade, like through the school year? Yeah, do kids do better in school and at the end of that next term? Have you ever looked at, I think that's what you were asking.
Yeah, and I think you kind of answered it without answering it. I mean, but maybe more, yes.
Yeah, we have not tracked that longitudinally, as you're saying. We could take a look at that and see if there's any carryover there. What you're describing really is also part of the reason why we've toyed between going in June and then going in August, because there's always that traditional summer slide, which is real. Kids get out of the patterns of learning and things of that nature. So that's why we at one time put it in August as kind of a precursor, because we thought there would be more momentum there. But we can certainly put that on the list for this year. I think it would be an interesting piece of data to track to see if there's any carryover there.
I imagine too, like if someone goes to summer school for one summer and then they never go again, and so it's kind of like, where do you start and end, and
And that's what I was just going to kind of say is I think with some of this, it's hard to attribute just going to summer school for the 15 days as the result of the growth, as you see from one year to the next year. There may be multiple factors that lead to that growth, so to attribute it just to those 15 days of summer school is really hard to pinpoint that.
I think the question, though, is if it's called comprehensive self-improvement for the school, there's got to have been a reason for that program to have been developed. If the goal is to improve the overall trend of the school for learning, right?
And I think they have their own. You kind of said that you guys have your own kind of data set and scale, but.
Yep, and that partnership with Lavinia, RISE was one aspect of it, but it's also involved like year-long curriculum coaching where they come in building, and together we build instructional tools and gather feedback and refine the way we measure success, so.
And as part of the CSI program, this is one component of the CSI program. It's not the complete component of it. And so throughout the whole process, we take into all of those accounts, all of the things being done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, we will now move on to policy review. Oh, I'm sorry. So we have to approve the summer school programs. Do I have a motion for approval? Motion by Bill, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Monty. Take a roll call vote.
Gockler? Yes. Palmasino?
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
unanimous, 9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Thank you. It seems like such an easy one to breeze by. We'll now move on to policy review. Dr. Schaab?
Thank you. President Flynn, I'd like to make a motion the Policy and Review Committee met and went through policies for a couple hours, and there are some new ones, there are some amended ones. So I'd like to make a motion, I'll just do this in one motion, to accept 8 policies as written or amended, and they include the staff use of electronic devices, sportsmanship, classified staff growth and evaluation process, a board meeting agenda and pre-meeting preparation, designated medical provider, review and complaints of instructional resource material, fundraising, and parent-teacher organizations.
Do I have a second? Second by Monty. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Manley,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
and Flynn,
Yes.
unanimous, 9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries.
We spent some time speaking and talking about the transportation of students by staff in private vehicles, which is a new policy. This one would be completed in one reading. So I make a motion to approve DEBD-BR, transportation of students by staff in private vehicles.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Schaab, second by Dr. Lund. Is there any discussion?
I should add that it's effective July 1st, 2024.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Larson,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
I'd make a motion then to rescind.
Motion carries.
Oh, sorry. I was
Go
trying
ahead.
to help you out with
It's
the
okay. Go ahead. Yeah, now you can go while I'm calling.
There's no hope for Dr. Brenner
Yeah.
between those two coughing people over there, by the way.
I'd make a motion to rescind the following policies. The transportation of students by staff in private vehicles, because we just adopted the other one. DCB, definition of work week and overtime. And then older policies without replacement, since they are in law now, which are Policy 3150, periodic financial reports, 3220, donations from the school district, and 3330, vendor rights for food and beverage items. I'd make a motion to rescind those.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. Any discussion? Take a roll call vote, please.
Berger,
Yes.
Palmasino,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Gockler,
Yes.
Manley,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now move on to consideration of use of building funds for carpet project materials. Mr. Elwine?
And just really quickly, as Jonathan's coming up to the microphone, just wanted to point out here quickly, relevant to a comment I made earlier about making sure that capital expenditures are staying away from the building fund, staying away from the general ledger, and they're going into the building fund. Just one requirement per century code is that each one of those must be approved explicitly by the board. And so Jonathan will introduce the project, but that is the premise as to why we're here tonight.
Thank you, President Flynn. I come here asking to use building fund monies for carpet materials for Winship classrooms and Lake Agassiz entries. Before I get into it, I just want to note in the administrative recommendation, I did make a typo. It says Wilder and it should say Winship. So I will be, that will be a difference when I ask for the administrative recommendation. So these carpeting projects were generally smaller scale, and we used operating maintenance budgets, so it would come out of those general funds budgets. So now what we're looking to do is buy these materials in a larger chunk, and that helps us in multiple ways. It allows us to get better pricing, and it allows us to move that money over to the building fund, as well as it allows us to match carpet. Carpet has about an 18 to 36 month run time for each type of carpet. So we've got a lot of, kind of mismatched carpets around the district where we try and get as close as we can, but this allows us to buy matching carpets for an entire large project. So you can see attached, we have the flooring estimate from Brian's Flooring. I will make note that it says the square foot price for Lake Agassiz is $579, while the square foot price for Winship is $299. I just wanted to address the disparity in those two numbers. The Lake Agassiz is the entryway carpet. That's a much more resilient and hardy carpet because we have much higher traffic, but I just wanted to bring that up to you. And then also attached is just kind of an overview of our building fund, just showing that we have a healthy balance and this is something we can afford. So the administrative recommendation is to approve the use of building fund dollars to purchase materials for Winship classroom carpeting and Lake Agassiz entry carpeting. I would take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Elwine?
Question. Who decides on the colors?
We work with the building administrators between our maintenance staff and the building administrators to come to an agreement on something that is cost effective as well as looks nice.
Can't wait to see what the color storm cloud looks like.
And obsidian?
Well, I kind of know what that was.
Yeah. Do I have a motion for approval?
I have one more question.
Go.
Sorry. Jonathan, I have a quick question for you. Is this all the classrooms then in Winship? From 102 to 156 as you have listed? Is that pretty much everything?
Yep, it's materials for all those listed classrooms, and they may not all get done this summer, but we're just buying them all in one bunch so we can match them, and we have that, and we can don't have to wait for it to ship if we have time to do those projects.
Can I ask you more? Is this like roll carpet then? So if I'm in classroom 102A, I have to box all my stuff up, get it in the hallway or whatever. Somebody comes in and lays the carpet and then everything comes back in? Is that the process?
Somewhat, we can work around the casework, and we try and work with them as much as possible to move things just kind of out in the hallways, but it is almost everything we do now, including this, is carpet squares, so those are much easier to lay down.
Motion for approval? Okay, motion by Josh. Is there a second? Second by Dr. Schaab. Any more discussion? Assuming a roll call vote, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Shad?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Manley?
Yes.
Person?
Yes.
Gockler?
Yes.
Excuse me, Lund?
Yes.
Palmasino?
Yeah.
Berger?
Yes.
And Flynn?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 absent.
Motion carries. Announcements. Anyone have any announcements? Lots of stuff going on. Grand City's Idol is next Monday? Oh, today. It's today.
Just one quick one. We had a message from Cindy about graduation, and I think it's due Wednesday. Is that right, Cindy?
And the staff appreciation is on this Wednesday as well. Okay. Any board requests for future consideration? Okay. School board norms, Josh, how do we do?
I think we did well.
Okay. We are adjourned, and we'll just take a couple minutes to move into the next portion of the meeting.